Hi everyone, I'm Natalia. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to discuss with you journaling and especially share with you how journaling has evolved for me over the course of about 7 years. And, personally, I have a love-hate relationship with journaling. It's really, really hard for me to journal, even though I know that journaling is so essential. And I know that if you are going to be using tarot cards for psychological reasons, for self-growth, to explore more your inner terrain over the world, you're going to want to journal. Journaling is going to be absolutely essential because when we journal, not only are we putting things concretely on a piece of paper, but by doing so, we are bringing stuff even more with our stream of thought out of our unconsciousness into the conscious state of being. And as a result, we establish the bridge between subconscious and conscious state of mind. And that becomes really essential. It is completely one thing to think ourselves in our headspace versus when we write them down, because then we have to confront, we have to witness, we have to then realize and sit with the thoughts that are now becoming concrete on a piece of paper. Journaling, without a doubt, is one of the most powerful psychological tools. It is something that any psychologist would always recommend to any one of their patients for numerous reasons, to dive deeper into themselves, for self-reflections, especially if you are able to get lost in a stream of thought and let the ego out of the way when you journal. It is incredibly fascinating what can come out, because that stream of thought is really a lot of times can stem from your unconscious, and it can tell you a wealth of information about you. And I don't know about you, for me, journaling has always been very, very challenging. And it still to this day continues. So although I gotta say, over the course of years of journaling, it has gotten much easier and much better for me. And it's interesting because over the course of 7 years of journaling, specifically in regards to tarot, how the relationship has evolved and the patterns that I started to observe in my selection of journals and the reflections I started to make, what those patterns are telling me about me and which stage I'm at in journaling. I'm also going to be sharing with you some of my favorite books that have helped me to be a little bit more creative when it comes to journaling. So hopefully this is going to be very interesting for you. I know that a lot of us like to journal. I love watching videos when people discuss their journaling practicing, because I always struggle with it. So it's something that's really instrumental to me. So when I started journaling, 7 years ago, I couldn't find the journal I used, but I do remember that it was a very large, I'd probably say maybe 9x11 leather-bound journal. It was large, and the way that I would journal is I would take photocopy pictures of the cards that I would use to dive deep into myself, and then I would explore them. That's how I came up with Matryoshka reading method. If any of you have taken it, you know about it, how you dive deeper and deeper into the cards to find out more and more depths of yourself. And if you haven't taken it, it's in a playlist. It's a part of a free class series that I do have here on YouTube. It's a great way to dive deeper into your readings. So I would photograph and then cut out and put and I realized very quickly that doesn't work for me, because it was very time consuming, and I am a very practical person. I like things to be practical. I like things to be quick to the point. I don't like where things taken me a long time to get them. Not only was it taking a long time, there was something about that 9x11 page size that drove me nuts. It was as if psychologically, I was communicating to myself that I need to feel the space. And by having such a big size, I was also communicating to myself that I need to, there's a lot I got to write. There's a lot I need to put on the paper. So it was overwhelming to my consciousness having that size. And I would really encourage all of you to pay attention what size of paper you use, especially if over the course of years of your relationship with journaling has shifted in terms of paper size. Try to see if you can pinpoint what that shift is telling you, because there's always a reason why we do things we do, why we change routines, why we change the way we do things, and exploring them will tell you a lot about yourself. So for me, it was overwhelming because that size communicated, oh shit, you gotta sit down, you gotta fill out that piece of paper, and it just was too much. I'm not one of those people that when I sit down, I start writing and I have this free flow of thought. I'm one of those people where I sit down and I pretty much write, this is what I get from these cards, and then I stop, and then I feel blocked, and then I feel I can't go any further, and I don't know what to say, and it just feels funny. It feels artificial to me. That's me. I am very verbal. I noticed that verbal and verbal capacity is my absolute strength. And I learned that by starting my other YouTube channel, Dr. Z PhD, where I had to utilize my throat chakra. And by doing that, I realized, wow, my strength is to be able to distill complex ideas in a simplistic form for people to understand. And I do it really well by my verbal ability. And as you can see on the channel, I don't struggle getting in front of a camera and just diving into the topic and talking. Verbal and vocalizing myself verbally is my strength. But then why do I struggle so much when I have to do exactly the same thing? But here I'm vocalizing myself on paper. You would think it should be easy, right? And you would think to some extent it also parallels being able to vocally speak in your thoughts, but it really doesn't. For me, there's a big block there for some reason. So that didn't work. Then I was very inspired by Patrick Fanagi. Patrick, I'm so sorry. I'm sure you're no longer watching YouTube, but I'm so sorry I mispronounced your last name. When Patrick had a YouTube channel, 78 cards or in 78 cards. And my God, Patrick, I miss you so much. Please come back. But I was very inspired by Patrick and his use of Midori, right? I haven't used the Traveler's Notebook. Yeah, Midori Traveler's Notebook. I just saw it aesthetically. It appealed to me. Leather aesthetically appeals to me. Leather that gets scratched up and messed up really appeals to me. So, like me, with my insatiable appetite, I went a little bit crazy on Midori notebooks. As I collected items for you to share with you, I looked around and I thought, what the heck? Oh, why did I need it to have 3? Well, apparently the olive green one was my planner for my clients, because I'm still to this day very, very analog, although I switch, I have now a bigger, different one. But apparently, and I know this about this, I'm very analog when it comes to daily planning and logging. So this was my daily, so disregard it. But this was my taro, and I would interchange that between my preference of this really kind of darker leather and this lighter leather. And at first, I even forgot I have this. Oh my God. This is when I was in a grad school at Pacific Graduate Institute. There was a classmate in our cohort, Niveen, from Egypt. Beautiful, beautiful woman. And she gifted this to me. And I love it. It's a beautiful, beautiful gift. So what I would do then, this is dating 2020. My photo as I start. And here's my year ahead. So what I started to do as I shifted, I can see now I shifted 3 years ago to do this. I shifted to using, and this was inspired by Leon. This is embarrassing that I'm so bad with everybody's names. From Liminal Spark. Okay, I really apologize. Note to self, get your name straight before you fail. She posted using this sprocket, HP sprocket. And I thought, oh my Lord, thank you. This is essentially, you take picture with your phone and then you print, and it prints on a sticker paper. And then you just adhesively, the back comes off and it's beautiful. You don't have to do any cutouts. Oh my goodness, I love this thing. Costly, yes, because the paper is costly, but depending how often you use it, I don't really often use it that much, so it works out for me. But as you can see, 2020 progressed to this type of, there you go, my year had spread. 2020. Oh my God. My God, guys, 2020, the year cards was death. 2020 was when 2020 was when I had to close my private office and take my business to home. And I think 2020 was when Freud got sick. So anyway, digress. So this is how it moved to this, and I loved it, and it worked wonderful for me, as you can see. And I used it for a while. Here's using story medicine, and I would have it in two parts. One part would be kind of tarot reflection. Another part was looks like I started and never finished working with Nicoletta Ciccoli. So this worked for me well. This turned out to be my rune. There's a picture of all of my runes put together. This turned out to be my kind of a rune study guide. Hence the antler, because I have antler runes. So this worked a long time for me. And honestly, now that I pulled it out and now that I saw where I'm at right now, I'm thinking about going back to this. Because aesthetically, this is just, it's like sinks to my heart. What I like about this is when you finish with one of these binders, you can then get one of this, also offered by Midori. And you see, look at this one. This is the one that's all, this is when I used to print them out. This is when they were all printed out. Oh my God. It's really interesting to watch because some of the tarot decks, I don't even have this tarot decks anymore. Gosh, this is kind of neat. But this is all print out. So this is started, let me tell you, oh, I used to have this tarot. Wow, 2017. So we're talking 6 years ago. So I was very close to my mark. Oh, look at this. I used to have it also got, oh my God. Okay, so maybe I will go back to this type of journaling. I love it. I love when they're compiled like this. I mean, look how, this is so, to me, yummy. Anyway, so I have here three compilations, as you can see, going through 2017. Holy shit, who knew I journaled that much? Talk about resistance. No, this is pretty good. All the way to 2018. Wow, all right. So I just might, after all, go back to this. So this is progressed to this. Then at some point, it became frustrating. And I think it became frustrating because it felt good, but my mind and my psyche wanted something smaller. It wanted something more compact. And I got myself this. This is a black cover that I got on Etsy, where they're able to put your initials and Z. And then I buy this also Midori, this little notebooks. And this is book 4, 2022 to, I haven't finished it yet. And I'm doing the same concept, see, journaling. And what I like about this is just like you're able to assemble things like this, this then become this. So these are 3 books, and I call them books. So this is book 1, book 2, book 3, and now I'm on book 4. And it's the same thing. I'm using stickers. Here's my Marina Abramovich Oracle that I made for myself. And this is journaling, started in 2021. Book 2, the same thing. Here's Saint Rita, I picked up on my trip to Spain, an antique shop. And I write in cursive. I like when the notebooks are, I like this is me journaling, creating. Jessica Zinchuk sent me this beautiful, what happened is my Baba Yaga rattle busted during our move to a new location. She busted. And Jessica said, I know you like them big. I have a big one for you. I would love to send you one. And so she sent me one and she told me how to put it in the water. And this is the process of me creating it, because what I did is God, it's so personal to me. What I did is I had this deer bones, which then I taped together. I mixed some paint with some oils together, and I painted this black. And then inside I put, Freud has passed away. I put some of the Freud's ashes. And then I put in some other items in there as well and tied it with a red thread. So that was the process, documenting this, me talking about the necklace I'm wearing that I got. Anyhow, you get the point, and how the necklace is actually the witch's labyrinth. I love this idea because I love how it becomes this nice, clean stack of volumes, right? And to some extent, I like it more than this because this is tall and short, and this is just a perfect size. So I may just resume this because it's interesting how you think you want something else, and then you start talking about it, and by talking and sharing with somebody else, you realize, this is actually exactly what I want. This is what I love. I went back to the small size because I realized that because I have such resistance journaling, a small size was communicating to me that you don't have to say a lot. You can say very little, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be a very tall order. And I've been loving this. And I always get, like I said, plain paper. I don't get lined or grid. I just get plain paper. And I've been really, really enjoying the small size. So the small size has been really interesting, and it has been really in sync with where I am. Now, I have been influenced, you see, we're all subject to influence, by Racine Owl Moon Woman. She uses, I think it's Owl Moon Woman. I love her channel. If you don't know her channel, she's probably the only one along with Cassia from Taro whom I followed when I first when I first started with Taro, and then when I disconnected from YouTube. I just really like their content. She uses this, how do you pronounce it? Lectrum? Lectrum. I think it's Lectrum. Lectrum 1917 German hard copy notebook. And the size really appealed to me, and I already started working in it yesterday when I got this. And the color appealed to me because, and I'll share down the road where I'm at in my life right now, but the red became very essential for what I'm doing versus black versus leather. And I'll probably, I don't know, maybe I'll keep it for what I'm working it on, or maybe I'll go back to this because aesthetically, this is just so personal. You know, it just really, really calls my heart to it. But I noticed the desire for larger space right now. And I thought this was really interesting that I desired a much larger space. And when I started to reflect, I realized that I'm actually in a stage right now where journaling is easier for me and it flows. Perhaps it flows because I'm going through something very personal in my life right now that is quite transformative. And there's a lot that I want to say about it, and I don't have anybody to say to. I mean, I can say to David, but David is David. David will not necessarily fully get it exactly because it's on a very personal, on a very different plane than the personal him and I share. And my sisters will definitely not get it. So this is why it's flowing. And I would really, like I said, encourage for you to observe whether the size of journals have changed for you throughout the time, because it also should be able to communicate something to you where you're at this stage. Color, texture, feels, they all may change for you, and there's also a reason why it may change for you. So now that I made this video, I am a little bit frustrated with myself because I feel torn, and I don't like to feel torn. I like to have one or another, so I have to sit with it afterwards. But this is a process. I'm pretty sure that this is going to stay with me. This particular size is going to stay with me forever because I just love having this type of form of documentation. Who knows what will come of this? Probably nothing will come of this, and nobody will ever read them. But who cares? I'm looking forward to when I am 60 years old and looking back at all of this and trying to see what all of this was all about and what I was feeling back then when I was feeling it. This is still my favorite. Now, when I was really, really struggling with journaling, there were some books that were really, really helpful. And none of these books are necessarily about journaling. They're all about writing, and they all aim to help you to become a better writer. But I found that for me, reading the books that aim at talking about becoming a better writer also helped me become a better writer in a journaling sense. They tend to parallel. So they probably will be familiar to a lot of them. So this is Bird by Bird by Anne Lamont. This is good. My two absolute favorites out of this three would be Writing Down the Bones by Natalie Goldberg. And my number one absolute favorite that got me so excited to just write anything down would be Stephen King on writing. This is if you are especially a writer of any kind, blogging, you write books, you write anything, journaling, this is really, really good. Really good. I mean, Stephen just really good. So this is what I would recommend. But, you know, for anybody who's really watching this, who feels very resistant to journaling and writing things down, what I gotta say for all of you is that the resistance is common, and I still struggle with the resistance. And resistance is always there because it's our ego resisting it, and it's resisting it because there's a reason why ego doesn't want to do it. And for me, I always say and share with everybody that I struggle with really dropping into my feelings. And so I wouldn't be surprised if my ego is resisting really getting in touch with those feelings. So we all have resistance, and we all have it for a reason, and it operates very differently for us. And it's for all of us to really explore what is there. But don't give up. Like I said, I have love and hate relationship. Do I journal every day? Absolutely not. But I journal when I want to carve out time for myself and sit down with my thoughts and put them down on the paper. And over the course of years, that has gotten a little bit easier, and it's got a little bit better, but it's still not where I want it to be. And I don't even know where I want it to be. I just know that I have something to say, and it's really me engaging in dialogue with different aspects of myself that becomes really, really essential to me and really important to me. So let me know, what is your relationship to journaling? Do you feel resistance? Do you feel stuck? What helps you? Have you noticed a change in your choices, preferences for what you use throughout the years? What have you noticed about the change? If you want to do a VR to this and share what changes you have observed, please do. That would be really wonderful to see. If not, just comment below and share. Journaling is really fascinating activity, because for some people, I notice it happens so naturally. For some people, I notice it happens not only naturally, but it is as if is there fish in their water. I think it's analogous to me being able to speak so freely. It's so easy for me to get in front of camera, either here or on my other channel, and just talk about the topic because my heart is so in it. And I can only imagine it must be the same way for people who are able to sit down and just write. It's got to be a really, really amazing feeling. But like everything else, you work at it and it gets better and better. And eventually you do able to break through that resistance that you have. So comment below, let me know. Otherwise, have a great Friday, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.